Silent Hill 2 Remake sucks, Maria. Did you know that? It's a bastardization of the original. It's a bad game, Maria. It's a bad game.
Yes. I know.
Bloober Team doesn't exactly have a good record with horror games.
Do you know something?
Yeah, Silent Hill 2 Remake
anyway,
sucked.
That's just what you think. You don't really know anything.
Have you played the original?
That's fine.
Alright man, for realsies this time, I'll show you why Silent Hill 2 Remake sucks. Let's just jump right into it.
I'm gay!
You know, the older I get, the more I see that the old things I love, which I used to be more involved with as a kid and a teenager, just kind of mysteriously fade from collective memory. I'm not that old either. I grew up with the same people who mostly didn't play Silent Hill, so much as they watched it, you know, Markiplier and all that. As is usually the case, most of us know more about the bizarre metaphorical reality and music of Silent Hill rather than the actual game that houses all the moment-to-moment gameplay. It's going to be a bit of a curse in the future to have to do this, but I thought I'd set the record straight about Silent Hill, starting with the remake, which again, Silent Hill 2 Remake sucks. Silent Hill isn't your average ordinary town. Speaking in a way that I think most theorists of Silent Hill's stories can agree on, it's a town that attracts the bizarre and acts as a canvas for the weirdos that are drawn there. Being dreamlike and uncertain is part of this town's mystery and charm, but it's also what being weird essentially is. I'm not claiming that this definition of weird isn't an oversimplification on my part, but for the sake of my point here, weird is whatever you don't expect, it's uncertain, and uncanniness plays into it. So, do you see a problem here?
Heart on the lake.
Because there is a problem here. Take a guess what this problem is.
We spent the whole day there. Just the two of us staring at the water.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. We should probably get going.
Fine. I don't look like a ghost, do I?
I don't look like a ghost, do I?
Do I?
Do I?
The problem here is playing it straight. Damn, everyone here sounds like...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. Hell.
Since Silent Hill isn't your ordinary average town, the original game got this feeling and nailed it right with every single character. Anytime James or Angela or Eddie or anyone speaks, especially in Silent Hill 2 in particular, there's always this element of mental illness as a subtext for the shit they say. It's not anything that you would particularly hear a normal person kind of burst into. It really does sound like they're kind of built up with guilt, repression, anger, condemnation in the words of everyone in Silent Hill 2. There's always just something a little bit off about the way they speak. In the Silent Hill 2 remake, James talks to Laura like she won't get off the ground when they're at Walmart and everyone's staring. Eddie's lines don't quite hit unnerving as they do as just being quiet and toned down. People try to argue that this was just a product of bad voice acting back in the day, but what they don't understand is that playing things up to sound animated and corny isn't inherently bad. If the scene is trying to convey to me that James is a nutcase that's slowly losing his mind,
don't worry. I'm not crazy. At least, I don't think so.
Speaking in unhinged, cartoonish manners in subtle ways, and that is just the most direct and obvious way to do it. It also serves to perturb and unnerve my interest. It makes me more curious, but it makes me more unnerved. I start to wonder, am I talking to a fentanyl user? You just don't see this in the remake. For the theme of facing your fears head on, even when it hurts, especially when you're the one trying to avoid it, the remake is unfortunately restrained in the voice acting department. I suspect the contributing factor is this hyper-focus on more realistic characters, realistic dialogue. Yet you have to stop to consider that James is walking into a town, baked in fog, to find his dead wife he claimed died years ago. And this entire adventure to do just that feels more like a dream as you play it. So why does realism need to be a factor here in the same way that realism supposedly needed to be a factor in Resident Evil 4 Remake? Okay, Cried. We've already talked about the voice acting and voice direction and the general theme of the characters going on that I've lost in translation into the remake, but why don't we talk about everything else, Cried? You can't just say Silent Hill 2 Remake sucks and not talk about... You hear how simple yet effective that is? It sounds like a love letter. It literally sounds like a love letter. It sounds like a very romantic Shakespearean story, but with a guitar, written by a guitar. Yes, music is subjective. We all know that. For all I know, maybe I'm the one who's actually got the bad ears here. Maybe I am the one who has shit taste in music. Music is incredibly subjective, and it's probably the most subjective art form out there. Just because of the fact that not everything in music theory really works the way you think it does, even when it should work the way you think it does. But that said, I think this sounds pretty fucking overproduced. It doesn't really have the same charm that the original does. The original sounds like a Shakespearean love letter written by an electric guitar. This sounds like Akira Yamaoka was invited to David Letterman, where he had to make sure that people understood that he makes real music and not video game music. So his sound changed because of it, and therefore he had to water it down. A common criticism of the original Silent Hill 2 was that people complained about the combat, forgetting that a core aspect of old survival horror games, including this one, were that back in the day, combat was usually de-emphasized in favor of running away with ammo scarcity and the like. So whenever someone wants to actually sit down and try to argue the case of the remake surpassing the original in some way, they usually say the combat, citing things like the Eddie boss battle as being poorly designed and boring. And while I do actually agree that the Eddie boss battle was basically that, in actuality, though, you were almost always better off running away for 90% of the game in Silent Hill 2, as it wasn't ever really about the combat. This is especially true in the original if you played on hard, considering you legitimately can't finish the game if you don't penny pinch all of your bullets for bosses like dual pyramid heads. Seriously, that fucking boss battle takes like a whole hour, and that's if you have the ammo to fucking finish it. And don't even get me started on the fucking pyramid head chase scene on hard. Holy crap. But in the remake, the combat improvements don't make much sense to me, as like I said, having the ability to dodge does little for the experience. Like, I didn't realize I'm playing Resident Evil 3. And I get the sense the more I played the remake that being scary was secondary to the story, and opening up a town early on is to the same effect of not really adding much. When I see the uninspired way they handled the user interface, I'm thinking to myself along with the open world, I didn't realize I'm playing an Ubisoft game by how much this game likes to roam around in the early game. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. It's your man Cried signing out for the night. I've got work in the morning, so you know me, I'm gonna go to work and shitpost more about how Silent Hill 2 Remake sucks. Just kidding, I'm over that now. My tweets are over. Follow me on X and you can see some more shitposts. Yeah, actually at work when I do those. Can't be on Twitter otherwise. Waste of time. But yeah, it's your man Cried signing out. No song tonight. Been really busy recently, but hopefully here's hoping we get some more videos going out this 2025, so later.